Hi guys, welcome to the weekly edition of Founders Corner. My name is Neil. I'm one of the co-founders at N5 Solution. So today, we last week we talked about runway rate, and one of the key components of the runway was the burn rate. So I thought, I keep the trend going here, and today I like to talk to you about what a burn rate is. So, burn rate is basically a measurement of how fast your business is spending its cash reserves. It essentially will track your burn rate for your business losing money. So, basically, a lot of times with startups, investors want to know what their burn rate is because they want to know how far the investor's money will go with the company. There are two type of burn rates that you could currently have right now: gross burn rate and net burn rate. So gross burn rate is basically just your monthly operating expense without taking revenue into account, and net burn rate takes your revenue account. Gross burn rate helps you really focus on measuring on your operating expenses, and net burn rate is useful if you want to measure your profit growth since it shows up how much you earn. So basically, with that is with net burn rate, that kind of helps you. Obviously, if you do a month trend and you see your net burn rate decrease, it shows that you're actually becoming more profitable and actually having more revenues. And gross burn rate is just a good kind of a key point to kind of figure out what your monthly expenses are, and then from there, you as an IT founder could basically kind of go through your expenses and see where you could save money. So how to calculate your gross burn rate? There's actually a few ways to calculate burn rate in general. So I'll tell you a couple of ways. Gross burn rate, you basically take your monthly operating expense and divide it by your starting capital, and then times it by 100. So for example, if you spend 3,500 a month in operating expenses and your total capital that you got was 50,000, so if you divide 3,500 divided by 50,000, and times it by 100, you get 7%. So your burn rate is basically 7% on a monthly basis. You're using 7% of the reserve that you received from your investors. And then net burn rate, if you use that same example, say you spent $3,500 a month, but you have $2,000 of monthly revenue, you just subtract that out. So 3,500 minus 2,000 divided by 50,000, and then times by 100, and you get 3%. So see how your net burn rate is a lot lower because you are starting to get revenue. So then that kind of shows that your money will last a little longer because you also have revenue that is helping, with the investors. Another way to calculate burn rate is also just based on cash basis. A lot of times, when we calculated before, it was more on accrual. It was like your monthly expenses, but those could be on accrual basis. So you kind of want to also see what your burn rate is on a cash basis. In order to do that, you basically take your starting balance from your bank account minus the ending balance, and then divide that by the number of months that you want to figure out. So say your starting balance was $1.2 million, and then after 3 months, your ending balance is 900,000. So you basically just take 1.2 million minus 900,000 divided by 3, and you get $100,000. So basically, what that says is that your burn rate, you're going through $100,000 per month in the last 3 months. And if you obviously you can change it to a percentage. So if you take the 100,000 divided by the 1.2 million, which is what your starting reserve was, and that will get you a 8.33%. So burn rate is very very closely monitored by investors. One of the reasons is because it shows to investor if your business is too free or too constrained with their spending. A lot of times, investor could look at it, oh, why is this company not spending enough money? And they actually might get worried and, obviously might not want to invest their money in there. And then also you have the other way around. If investor sees that you're spending money way too fast, then they know that you don't. They know maybe the management is not properly allocating funds the way it should be. And then burn rate also helps a startup, plan ahead and kind of know when to seek for more additional funds. A lot of times, like the runway rate, you should have about 12 to 18 months of funding avail in your bank account, basically get you through those type of months. And then, in order to improve your burn rate, either you would need to reduce your costs, increase additional funding, or even increase your revenue. So again, burn rates is definitely a key area that everyone should be looking at. And if you need any more advice, just comment below. If you have any questions or concerns, just list in the comments down below, and then we're happy to answer them. I hope you enjoyed this week's session, and we're looking forward to speaking with you next week as well. All right, thank you.